Of all the fearsome creatures of the deep, the mighty Megalodon is the most terrifying. This gigantic shark is 100% nightmare fuel, a devilish creature the size of a school bus, with more power in her jaws than any animal that ever lived. The Megalodon might sound like something ripped out of a horror movie, but she was real. And some even think that she might be lurking in the chilly depths of the ocean to this day. The more you learn about this ancient aquatic beast, the more you'll want to stay out of the ocean for good. Here are 10 horrifying facts about the monster Meg. Number 10. The Megalodon was absolutely massive. The scariest thing about the Meg is her sheer size. The presence of any shark will paralyze most normal people in their tracks, but the Megalodon was something special. A super-sized shark with all the bloodthirsty ambition that you'd expect from the fiercest great white, only much, much bigger. The monstrous Meg was a full 60 feet long on average. This makes her length larger than most school buses. From razor-sharp teeth to tail, the Meg is 10 times longer than the tallest person you know. A force of the ancient ocean, prey stood no chance against the powerful Megalodon, and by the time they spotted her enormous body, it was far too late for them. The Meg was the ultimate apex predator, a true terror of the ocean. If you're getting cold feet about dipping a toe into the sea, just wait until you hear the next bone-chilling fact on our list. Number 9. The Megalodon lurked in the shallows. We tend to think of the mighty Meg as being a deep, cold water dweller. Big mistake. The Megalodon loved to hunt in the warm, shallow waters, often separating the waves with her enormous size. As scary as it is to consider the Meg trawling the depths, it's even worse to think about her basking in the warm waters near our shores. That's exactly what she would do. The Megalodon was a smart creature who knew that the best prey was near the land. She loved to swim among smaller dinosaurs and aquatic creatures, scooping them up in her massive maw and preying on the unsuspecting prehistoric animals who only wanted to catch a quick dip in the ocean. The mighty Meg would have no issues snapping up a human or two, especially one out for a sunny swim in the shallows. Number 8. The Megalodon was a cannibalistic nightmare that preyed on other sharks. To say that the Meg was not a picky eater is a huge understatement. This nightmare denizen of the seas had a wide palate and an unrelenting taste for blood. During her reign, the Megalodon was an apex predator, combing the seas for anything and everything to stuff her massive jaw. Being at the top has its perks, and the Meg soon developed a taste for her own kind. That's right, the ancient scourge of the seas was a true cannibal. The Meg had no problem snacking on whales and slurping down dolphins in one bite, but her true love was the flesh of other sharks. Imagine a predator who hunted, stalked, and swallowed up great white sharks. That's exactly what Megalodon was, a murderer of her own kind. But we're just getting to the good stuff now. Number 7. The Meg had the most gigantic jaw that you've ever seen in your life. We've established the size of the Megalodon, but we've only scratched the surface of what made this watery beast so absolutely terrifying. 2 words: gaping jaw. The Meg had a jaw that suited her size, and when this big beast decided that it was dinner time, she'd stretch it open and suck down her prey whole. The Megalodon's incredible jaw was big enough to swallow 2 fully grown people standing up without missing a beat or scraping one of her teeth. Imagine staring into the void of the Megalodon's mouth, knowing that there was no way to escape the inevitable. That's what prehistoric ocean animals had to grapple with every single day. The Megalodon's jaw is truly the stuff of legends, which is why we had better hope that this powerful predator is truly extinct. Number 6. The Megalodon had 5 deadly rows of razor-sharp teeth. If you were sucked into the Meg's maw hole, you got away lucky. This supersized shark had some of the most fearsome teeth in the world. A full 5 rows of enormous chompers, all filed to a knife-like point. In total, the Meg had roughly 280 teeth. Like sharks today, the Megalodon would regrow teeth as she needed, discarding the old ones all over the ocean floor. Meg teeth can be found all over the world, a true testament to how widespread the Megalodon's reign of terror actually was. If you found yourself crunched between the huge pointy teeth of the Meg, you were in for a world of pain. Like everything else on this titanic terror, the teeth were built for ruthless destruction. You would be ground into tiny bits before you ever saw the bottom of the Megalodon's stomach. Number 5. The Megalodon was in a class all of its own. There's a common misconception that the Meg was just a giant great white shark. Not so! This maritime monstrosity was in a class all of her own. Although the Meg might look like the great white shark from your worst nightmares, she is actually a distant cousin of the auditor shark, another prehistoric boogeyman that roamed the high seas. Aside from the odious auditor shark, the Megalodon doesn't seem to have any close relatives. The Meg is a bit of an outsider, just like how she was when she terrorized the high seas. It's lonely when you're an apex predator at the top. Number 4. The Megalodon was a horrifying citizen of the world. Today, when we think about citizens of the world, we think about cosmopolitan folks who are sophisticated beyond measure. Back in prehistoric times, it meant something a little bit different. The Meg was a true citizen of the world, but you'd hardly call this bloodthirsty beast sophisticated. Being an adaptable apex hunter, the Meg was able to trawl waters all over the planet. Her sheer size made crossing the ocean a breeze, and this massive beast haunted waters from Argentina to Australia. The only place the Megalodon didn't venture was the far reaches of the Arctic and Antarctic oceans. She preferred warmer waters, the more pleasant for swimming, and the more likely to be full of delicious prey. Her expansive habitat is the reason why fossil remains of Megs wash up on shores all over the world. A disturbing thought when you consider our next horrifying fact. Number 3. The Megalodon might still be lurking in our oceans. Just because nobody has credibly seen or encountered a Meg doesn't mean that they don't exist. The oceans are deep and mysterious places, and we're just now learning the breadth of what actually lives below the waves. The Meg is thought to have gone extinct in the Pliocene era, but that doesn't compute when you consider the countless stories of massive oceanic beasts that exist in just about every type of mythology on the planet. Every culture has a big shark tale, and most of them wind up at the same conclusion. There's something big and scary out there in the depths. Eyewitness accounts of enormous sharks in the distance, and the remains of creatures that we can't quite identify just dump gasoline on the fire. Anyone who was unlucky enough to come into contact with a Meg would certainly not be able to swim away and tell the tale. So nobody really knows if these stories are just saltwater lore or something more. One thing is for certain, nobody can say for sure that the mighty Meg is 100% gone for good. Number 2. The Megalodon's bite was one of the strongest forces on the planet. We've established that the Meg was a predator that you didn't want to tangle with, but her gaping maw is only a small part of the story. The Meg had a fearsome bite and could slice through the big bones of whales like a machete through warm butter. The full crush of the Megalodon bite packed a punch and 40,000 pounds of sheer pressure. That's stronger than any animal alive today, or virtually any beast from prehistoric times. The Meg was a force, an awe-inspiring creature whose bite is legendary. With a bite like that, there's no doubt why the Megalodon ruled the seas. Even great whites and other aquatic champions were no match against the Meg. Imagine the kind of carnage the Meg would wreak today, with a jaw that could crush pure concrete into tiny pebbles, and reduce your bones to dust in a nanosecond. Is there anything worse than imagining the sheer strength of the Meg's bite? We still have our number one horrifying fact. This one is guaranteed to keep you out of the water for the rest of your life. Number 1. The Megalodon was never satisfied. The Meg was a notorious snacker and is known as the bottomless pit of the seas for insatiable appetite and indiscriminate tastes. The Megalodon would swallow unlucky creatures whole, grind them into a paste with her 5 razor-sharp rows of teeth, or annihilate them with her massive bite. But she was never fully satisfied. The Megalodon was a 24/7 eating machine, gulping down up to 2,500 pounds of food every single day. What's more, she wasn't a picky eater, so anything that came into her path was automatically prey. It's hard to imagine an animal as ruthless as the Megalodon, but it's impossible to understand her constant desire to eat. This creature rarely slept, scouring the shallows for animals off their guard and sucking them down for a tasty midnight snack. Ironically, if the mighty Meg is extinct, her species might have died out from hunger. In a sad twist of fate, prehistoric climate change might have spelled the end for the Megalodon, freezing her food sources and sending her spiraling down to the deep in search of one last meal. On the other hand, who's to say that she won't surface again? Do you think there is a Megalodon lurking out there? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to What Lurks Below.